Hi, Mistake Club. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Lihi. I'm a parent coach and a parent educator. Actually, my introduction to parent education and the Adlerian theory started when my second child was born. I actually had a wonderful career in advertising and marketing, and I loved it. But I felt that something changed. I came to the understanding that actually being a parent is my most important job. And I decided to expand my knowledge and my abilities. And after a couple of years, I got certified and I started to work with parents in Israel. After working with parents in Israel, my family and I really relocated to the Seattle area. I worked as a parent educator and faculty member of the North Seattle College. And after 2 wonderful years, we relocated back to Israel. And now I'm working with parents both in Israel and in the United States. Gosh, there's been so many. It's hard to choose. No, seriously, I was that girl who always accidentally break something, spill something, fall, roll down the stairs. So embarrassing. This is who I was. Luckily for me, the adults in my life, my parents, people around me, they didn't really pay attention to that. They loved me for who I was, and they were proud of me. And I'm really grateful for them for doing that and not paying attention to all my clumsiness. I mostly learned about how to laugh at myself, which is kind of useful when you want to lighten up the atmosphere. And sadly, I learned to avoid things because I didn't want to be embarrassed. So I avoid eating in big events because I didn't want people to see me drop something or spill something at myself. And that was my experience as a kid. But years went by, and I think today, looking back, I learned so many useful things. First of all, I learned that it happens to everyone, and it's really okay to make mistakes and accidentally fall or accidentally break something or drop some gravy on your shirt. I think I mostly learn how to support myself. For instance, because I know myself so good these days, I know that if I have a long day with plenty of meetings, I will always have another shirt in my bag, just to make sure that I have backup. And I learned that I'm strong enough to recover from those mistakes. And I think this is what contributed to my confidence the most. I think I was 16 years old, and I remember it till this day. I was walking outside the mall with a good friend of mine. And we were walking, talking, and this can only happen to me, right? My feet got tangled with this plastic ring, and I fell on my face on the middle of the pavement, you're walking outside the mall. This is the most busiest place in town. And I just fell on my stomach, on my face. And the next thing I remember is turning around, looking up, and there was a ring of people surrounding me, making sure that I'm okay. And then I heard someone yelling from a distance, "Can you repeat that? Because I didn't get to see it." And that person laughing so hard. And naturally, I was really embarrassed. I stood up, cleaned myself, and smiled and tried to vanish. I didn't want anyone to recognize me. My friend was there with me and she helped me. And I think we went to drink something or have ice cream or just to help me recover. And I did. You're gonna make mistakes. Mistakes is part of life, and you can try to avoid them, but you will make them. You're strong enough, and you have so many good qualities, and you will learn so much from your mistakes that you'll become wiser and stronger and more confident than you'll ever be, just because you make mistakes. The first thing is that we need, as parents, we need to acknowledge the fact that it's really hard for us to see our kids make mistakes. And it comes, that this difficulty comes from the fact that our job is to keep our kids safe. And this is why we really try to avoid anger and frustration and sadness and danger. But we have to remember that our job as parents is also to prepare kids to the world and train them how to be adults in this world. And part of this training is allowing them to try stuff, allowing them to take some risks, allowing them to feel that frustration and sadness and anger, only so they'll know themselves and they'll know how to recover. And one of the ways that we have to do it is allowing them to make mistakes. The past year, with the dramatic changes that we all went through, from being outside to being at home, coping with the pandemic, we had to improvise all the time, and we had to come with different solutions to different problems that we didn't have to face before. And those kids who were used to finding solutions, who were trained with overcoming problems, it was easier for them. As parents, we make a lot of mistakes. I make mistakes on a daily basis. And when I think about what kind of advice I can give parents about coping with their mistakes, I think it comes back to acknowledging the fact that we are all human and we make mistakes, and showing our kids how we cope with our own mistakes. It's a great model for them. They look at us, and if we show them a perfect image about we parents, we are grown-ups and we know exactly what to do always and we never go wrong and our life is perfect, it can be pretty intimidating for kids, because how can we measure up to those parents? How can we be perfect as well, when deep inside we know that we make mistakes all the time? So modeling to our kids that we make mistakes as well is crucial for them. So first of all, acknowledging it. Yes, I make mistakes, and sharing our mistakes when it's possible with our kids. Okay, it starts from the really little things, like, oh, I was late to work today because I forgot to set my alarm. Those daily mistakes that we do is a great opportunity for sharing with our kids. Wow, Mom, how was it frightening, or was your boss upset with you for being late? Those are really good questions. We can have a great conversation about what I did and how I felt, and did it happen to you as well in school when you were late, and how did your teacher react, etc., etc. By sharing those mistakes with our kids, we're laying a great foundation for communication and for sharing feelings and thoughts about mistakes and how can we prevent them. Do you have an idea about how can I remember to set my alarm for next week or for tomorrow? Or when it comes to mistakes that we do as parents, it's the same. The problem is our own guilt and our own feelings like, oh gosh, how can I correct this? And again, the communication between us and our kids, this is the key here, because sharing it with our kids, yesterday I was really angry and I said stuff that I shouldn't have. I want to say I'm sorry. It takes so much from us sometimes to apologize to our kids, and yet it doesn't make us weaker. Usually it just makes us stronger, and it allows our kids to come to us when they need to be sorry as well. I think especially, by the way, especially when we're dealing with teenagers and like everyday conflict, and a lot of time our voices get louder and louder, both kids and parents. And our ability to just, knock on their doors. Usually the door is shut. So knock on the door. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for the things that I said yesterday. And when you want to, we can talk about it and figure out a solution. I think it's a remarkable way to bond and allow our kids to come back to us when they're in the same situation.